A lot of realtors coach on beating it around the bush because they don't want to be direct. Just be direct, because I'd rather somebody just say no or yes. In this video, we're going to be talking about the best intros for real estate cold calling. Let's dive right into the video. When it comes to making cold calls, again, we talk about mastering the very first 30 seconds, really the first 7 seconds, because everyone's attention span is going down, 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 down. You need to be on the money with your script very quickly, straight to the point, mastering the intro. So, Henry, what is the best intro for making a cold call? Well, I'm glad you're watching this video because I'm about to tell you. The best intro for making a phone call is the following. Hi, blank, okay? Hey, John. Hey, Sally. Hey, Susan. You want to assume, because again, if you're calling a Mojo, Red X, or Vulcan 7, or whatever it is, and you have a name in front of you, assume it's that person. However, if John is the name, and it sounds like a woman, you probably shouldn't say, hey, John, okay? Because it's probably not John. You could say, hey, Mrs. Smith, as an example. This is just exactly what I do. I assume it's John. I would tell you to assume it's John. If it sounds like a woman, you say, hey, Mrs. Smith. Because again, 90% of the time, the person answering most likely John's phone is wife, girlfriend, whoever it is, okay? So, hey, John. This is blank. You're going to say your name. You're not going to say, hi, it's Henry Eisenstein. Hey, John, it's Henry Eisenstein. He doesn't know who that is. So I'm not going to tell you to say your full name. You're just going to say your first name, and that's it. Hey, John, it's Henry with blank company, okay? You're not going to say, if you have 17 words to your company name. I've heard companies that are like, this, Sotheby's International Complex, Central, North, East, West, Best. Who cares? Just get to the point of your company, okay? Hey, John, it's Henry with EXP Realty. How are you? Okay? Straight to the point. That is going to be a quick opening line. How are you? They're going to say, great, good. Who is this? Okay? They're going to get all over the place. You say, hey, John, this is Henry with EXP Realty. The reason for my phone call is blank. You want to get straight to the point. Okay, it's the only other thing that I would tell you to say. So you either say, how are you? Or the reason for my phone call is. If they're in a good mood, if you can hear their voice, like, oh, hello, who is this? Again, if you can hear like an uptick in their voice, I might just go in with, hey, how are you? I always like to be kind of friendly. However, you can also go straight into the point. Hey, John, this is Henry with EXP Realty. The reason for my phone call today is blank. Let's just use the expired script for an example. By the way, you can download my script book down for free, yes, for free, in the description down below, so make sure you check that out. If you're using an expired script, it sounds like this. Hey, John, it's Henry with EXP Realty. The reason for the phone call today was that I saw your property had recently come off the market, and I was just curious if you were still looking to sell it. Now, the reason why I say exactly that is I like to get straight to the point. And most times, you're going to hear in sales, you don't ask yes or no questions. However, when it comes to expireds, you want to get straight to the point. Because if you go, hey, John, this is Henry with EXP Realty. And the reason for my phone call is that I saw that your property, was just taken off the market. And I was just curious, and you got into all these other random things. The only thing I would say is this. You have two options. If you want to go for a longer form question, you can go this way. I'm just curious what happened. Okay? That's the only thing you can say. I'm telling you right now, I've probably called more expireds than anyone watching this combined. So what I'd say to you is this. You can either go one of two routes. Number one, hey, John, this is Henry with EXP Realty. The reason for the phone call today was that I saw your property had just come off the market, and I'm just curious what happened. And get curious, genuinely in your voice. Just curious, John, what happened? Okay? The other way is that you can do it like this. Hey, John, this is Henry with EXP Realty. The reason for the phone call today is that I saw your property had just came off the market, and I was just curious if you were still looking to sell it. That's it. You got two options, guys. You just want to get a very clear idea very quickly if they're still looking to sell the property. That's why I go the latter route, and I just want an answer. You still looking to sell the property? Yes, no, great. Because guess what? They say yes, you go into the rest of the script, which is in the description down below, so make sure you click on it. And again, if you love my content and you want to be coached by me, make sure you click the link in the description down below as well, and let's get on a quick phone call and see if it's right for you. So, the reason why I do that is because if they say yes, I just go into the rest of the script, and if they say no, I also have that answer, but again, you can just say, I'm just curious what made you change your mind. You get them right back on track. Well, my realtor sucked. Okay, well, I can appreciate that. And then you get right back into your script because I have all the answers in the script book, so make sure you download it now. You can go into things like, I can understand that a lot of realtors are just getting in the business. Might be, I don't know if he was a new agent or not, but I apologize regardless. Just curious though, when you do sell your home, John, where are we looking to move to next? And he's going to go into everything else. You want to just start being relatable, and you want to be able to come to his level, okay? Meet him where he's at. And now let's just say you're going into circle prospecting. Circle prospecting is a little bit different. Again, you're going to say, hey, blank, it's blank, okay? Hey, John, it's Henry with EXP Realty. The reason for the phone call was that I was actually calling around the neighborhood because I have a couple buyers who are desperately looking for a home, and I was just curious if you might consider selling your home. Okay? Because you want to get straight to the point. A lot of realtors coach on beating it around the bush because they don't want to be direct. Just be direct, because I'd rather somebody just say no or yes. And because what most people are going to say, like, here's the cool part. If they say, yes, I am considering selling, okay, great, fantastic. Just curious, do you happen to have a price in mind, or are you just, knocking around the idea in your head? Well, just knocking around the idea. Okay, cool. So let's talk about it. So if you did sell your home, John, where are you looking to move to next? You do the same script. You don't have to think that you need to know all this crazy lingo. It's really the same verbiage. If they say no, you can just dive into the same part of the script. I can appreciate you don't want to sell it because, like, listen, I'm just some random person calling you out of the blue. However, I am just curious, is that you don't want to sell it whatsoever, you just don't want to sell it today. Like, if I got you a number that knocked your socks off, John, would you possibly consider selling the home? Yeah, I mean, I guess if there's, if you gave me $1 million, okay, well, cool. If you do your numbers, sometimes I'm telling you, I've done this 1,000 times, and I'm talking to the person, they say, no, I'm not looking to sell it. I'm like, listen, John, I completely understand you don't want to sell it. Again, I'm calling you out of the blue. It's a complete cold call. However, listen, I'm just trying to do the best that I can for my buyers. So I'm just curious. They're desperate. Is there a number that would knock your socks off that you might consider selling your home? And they're like, yeah, if you gave me $500,000, I mean, I would sell it tomorrow. $500,000. I mean, the houses in the neighborhood only, go for $600,000 or $700,000. I'm not kidding. This happens often. You just have to make some phone calls. And listen, sometimes they're going to say, I want $700,000 for a $700,000 house. And for those of you who are going, Henry, I don't have any buyers. Well, here's a fantastic idea. What you're going to do is this. What you're going to do is that you're going to, I'm not going to say you're going to lie, you are going to make up a scenario where you're going to say, listen, I have a couple buyers who are super desperate for a home. $700,000 right in their budget. I'm just curious, how many bedrooms do you have in your home? You're going to say 4, right? This is for someone who's looking to sell. Because what happens to people is, like, you think you get trapped if they're like, well, okay, well, why does your buyer just make me an offer? Okay, well, just curious, before we, set up all that kind of stuff, and we just make you a blind offer, I want to make sure the home is a perfect fit. You'll dive into it. It's like, say, how many bedrooms? What's the square footage? Do you have a pool? Whatever they say, you're just going to say your buyer wants the opposite. So if they say, well, they have 4 bedrooms, you're going to say, listen, my buyer was actually looking for a 5-bedroom, maybe even an in-law suite. It sounds like your home could be perfect for somebody. I'm just curious, John, considering you are open to selling, it sounds like you have a fabulous home. Just curious, would you be totally against listing the property for sale? That's the opening part of your scripts when it comes to expireds and circle prospecting. These scripts are going to get you so far if you just continuously make your calls. If you want to be successful, making 10 calls a day isn't going to do it. Here's a really quick rule of thumb. If you want to make $100,000 a year, think about how many transactions you need to do. So if in your marketplace, let's say it's 10 grand per commission check, that means you need to sell probably 12 houses because you have to make 120 grand because depending on your split, this way you net 100 grand. In order to close one transaction where cold calling is probably only going to be, again, a quick rough estimate, 3% conversion. I'm trying to be conservative here, all right? Because I don't want to give you some number and you're going to be like, oh, well, I already get that amount of leads. Okay, listen. If you want to close one deal a month, you're going to need to generate at a 3% ratio, which at one deal close, that means you need to generate 33 leads a month, or let's just say 30 for quick numbers' sake. So that means you need to generate 1 lead a day. 1 lead a day means 1 closing a month. If you want to generate 2 leads a day, probably going to close 2 leads a month. It can be that simple. Here's the thing. So many people call me and they say, well, I'm not closing enough deals. If you're not closing enough deals, let's look at how many leads you're actually generating. Most of the time, these people are probably only generating 5 leads a month, 10 leads a month. And I'm telling you right now, the conversion is only going to be somewhere between 3 and 5%, especially depending on your skill set on the phone. Now, somebody like myself might have a 10% closing ratio on cold calling based on the amount of the conversations that I'm having and the amount of leads that I'm generating. If someone's not looking to sell their home for 2 years, well, I'm looking to sell probably in the next year or 2 or 3, depending on when my kids graduate, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you right now, stop counting that as a lead. You're giving yourself an out. Oh, I got my lead today. That count 3 years out. That doesn't count. If they're within 6 months, you can count it as a lead. Think about how crazy this is. If you just called for even 30 minutes a day, I'm not telling you hours, I would recommend as long as you can. However, if you call for 30 minutes and you got a fantastic lead and you set an appointment, you actually did your job of a real estate agent and you have 2 choices. You can now go do whatever you want the rest of the day because you set your appointment. Because especially if you just want to make 100 grand, if you set an appointment a day, you're going to make more than 100 grand. However, okay, let's be really, really, really honest for a second. If you called for 30 minutes or an hour and you didn't get any leads or no appointments and you think you did a great job today, I'm sorry, but it's not going to cut it. I'm not here to rub your back and it's all going to be okay, sweetheart. It's not. Probably not going to make any money if you don't make enough calls, which then translate to leads, which will translate to appointments and closings. If you want to make a lot of money, stop being really easy on yourself. It's not going to work. And I'm not saying you need to push yourself like David Goggins because the man's out of his freaking mind and I love him. However, you are the dictator of your results. If you call for 1 hour and you get 1 lead, okay. You're not going to be able to compete with somebody who's going to call for 6 or 8 hours a day like I did and I had generated 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 leads a day, where maybe 2 of the 10 were great leads, but I got 8 other ones that were 2 years out that I ended up still selling because I followed up with them long term, you're not going to be able to compete. And that's your competition. People like me working 100-hour work weeks who want to put in the work, the people like you who want to put in 100-hour work weeks are going to dominate the competition. However, those of you who only want to make 30 minutes of calls or an hour worth of calls and then stop because you're hungry, it's just not going to work out the way you want it to, okay? And again, if you appreciate my videos, make sure you check out the link in the description down below to make sure you sign up for one of my coaching calls. I'd love to have you part of the group. Other than that, guys, I'm going to say this and I'm going to let you guys go. Get on the phones, get on the phone, get on the phone. If you want to make money, this device right here has made me a multi-millionaire. This phone right here, this completely destroyed screen phone, has made me millions of dollars, and it will do the same for you if you utilize it. If you leave it here, or you just use it for swiping on Instagram, okay, it's not going to make you money. However, if you dial a number that's any person who owns a piece of real estate and you call them and you have a great conversation using my script book down in the description down below, you're probably going to get a better result. You understand what I'm saying? Other than that, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. So excited to see you succeed in the future. If you need anything, comment in the descriptions down below. I answer every single comment, so make sure you put something in the comments. And if you have not subscribed yet, I'm not a fan of you. So you need to subscribe for me right now so I can be your fan. I want to be your fan. I want to give you a high five right now because you're crushing it in this business. All right, guys, have a fantastic rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Take care.